The special elections next Tuesday are super goddamn important. And you need to be doing your part to push people out to the voting booth in those elections, okay? No matter where you are, you can phone bank, you can text bank, you can do things. Regardless of where you are, you need to buck up. All right? It seems more like the whole thing is buckling. Well, I mean, structures are, our social structures are only as strong as we make them, which is why it's important to support institutions. I have phone bank today. It was a slow time, a lot of hangups and VMs. Yep, that's the nature of the game. You got to check those names off, okay? I'm still shocked from the kidnapping of the PhD student. The thing that isn't getting as much reporting is that is not an isolated incident. Zia Spots, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Shitty and stressed, so time to watch some Riverboat Jack for inspiration. Thanks for your work.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the $5 super chat. But yeah, no, understand that what is happening right now with the targeting of college students and grad students in particular is that the Trump administration does not have the resources to do its mass deportations like how it wants to. And so what it is instead doing is trying to create a culture of fear where people will acquiesce in advance, where people will self-deport, i.e. flee the country, and where they can go to their constituents and go, look, see, Donald Trump is doing it. Look at all of these terrorists he's arresting and deporting. It does not matter what they have done because there is no due process for these deportations, And so what ends up happening is that people people are just getting snatched. There was a student in Minnesota who got grabbed. There also a grad student. There was a student in I forget where, but from Russia who got grabbed as well. It's just they're looking for pretenses to arrest people to send a message because they are incapable of delivering on their fundamentally worse promises. Yeah, no, and the other thing to understand is that part of the culture of fear that this is seeking to instill in us is essentially the idea that, oh man, they can do this to any one of us. And that's true because there's no due process. However, we cannot let that cow us into silence. We cannot, because the more of us who go silent, the easier it is to single people out through mobilizing in strength and standing in solidarity. And that's kind of a key part there, standing in solidarity, not shrinking away in solidarity. We have to stand together. That's how we maintain our safety. We have to stand up for one another. You're seeing a lot of solidarity movements just pop up across the country, like people turning out for undocumented people when they have a forewarning that someone may be targeted by ICE. Groups of people turning up to form human chains around folks who might get deported. It's inspiring, also scary. But we need to get out there. We need to continue going out there. And there are a number of stories going around right now that are definitively quite scary, you know? An example of this is a recent interview that Elon Musk did.
It's the people pushing the propaganda that caused that guy to do it. Those are the real villains here. And we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear, we're going to go after them. The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda, we're going after them.
Hey, damn, that's me. He's talking about me. Am I going to shut up? Fuck no, I'm not. Fuck that asshole. And fuck Tesla with your shitty glue cars. Yeah, how dare you spread lies about our cars that are held together with glue and dreams? Fuck this clown. Cry harder, asshole. But additionally, he's talking about all you guys. Every single person who goes out to a Tesla takedown protest. And you know what? That just means we need to do it harder, because you want to know something? You want to know something about egotistical bastards like this guy? Look at him. This man is scared as fuck. This man is scared as hell. This is the man who just got out of a meeting with his financial advisors, who told him, hey, if Tesla loses more money, you have no way of getting out of your financial situation. Because this man has dug himself a goddamn hole, and he can't get out of it unless Tesla stock goes up. So you guys keep showing up to these Tesla takedown protests. I think last I heard there were only 3 dealerships in the entire country that don't have protests around them yet. We need to keep making this bigger, folks. We need to keep making this bigger, folks. So if you need help going to a Tesla takedown protest...
Providing the money, Elon? Come at me, bro, I'm ripped.
If you need help finding a Tesla takedown protest, there's a handy website conveniently titled www.teslatakedown.com. And I'm just going to link that in chat for all of you to peruse and find local protest you can go to this weekend. But also, yeah. Paladin is 100% right. Earlier today, I think just a couple hours ago, it was announced that Elon Musk had sold Twitter to one of his own companies called XAI. And you'll never believe this. In December, XAI was valued at $40 billion. Do you want to know how much Elon Musk valued it now, several months later, with no additional accomplishments? At double that. At double the $40 billion. He valued his own company that is privately owned at $80 billion, and then tried to claim that Twitter, which he bought for $44 billion, was actually worth $30 billion now, despite the fact that investors in the company have valued it at $12 billion. So basically, he doubled the valuation of his company, and it's, I mean, him doing this self-dealing to himself and like selling a company to himself, like very clearly what's happening here is that he's having to shuffle around some money because he's in trouble. I mean, what's essentially happening here, Snookin, is that he had one of his companies buy another one of his companies. in order to shuffle money around, because I got to be honest with you. I think he's in a worse economic situation than he's letting on. I think if we keep bringing down Tesla's value, there's a reason why he's doing an interview where he's going out and saying, "Oh, yeah, we're going to go after anyone who says something about Tesla." Good luck, asshole. But also, how could he be in trouble, Jack? He's worth like 300 to 400 billion. Okay, understand how this works, though, right? So how these people make money, right? He does not really make meaningfully a paycheck from any of his jobs. Instead, how people at this level of wealth operate is they essentially take out loans against the value of like their holdings. So what ends up happening is that Elon Musk gets paid in, say, Tesla stock. And that means, well, he has a certain amount of stock valued at a certain amount. And a bank looks at that and says, okay, so you're good for this amount. You have these assets. We will give you a loan of X amount of money, right? Based on those assets. And so by doing this, it's a way of bypassing ever having to liquidate the stock in order to have money. And instead, that's how these people pay $0 in taxes, right? And so loans are not taxable. But what ends up happening when you do this is that you only have the cash from those loans. And when suddenly your asset starts plummeting in value, like say you're doing fascism and people hate you, essentially what ends up happening is the bank goes, hey, we're getting worried that you can't pay us back, so we're calling the loan. We want you to repay us. And then the bank can just take your assets if you don't pay them. So this is obviously very simplified, but the way that Elon Musk has always operated is essentially with no safety net whatsoever, under the assumption that he's only going to get more valuable as time goes on. Except Tesla takedown directly attacks the core thing that his entire loan operation is based on, which is Tesla stock value. So at some point, I don't know what that stock valuation is. At some point, those banks come calling for him, and suddenly he has to do a mass sell-off. So what would then happen is that everyone sees Elon Musk has to do a mass sell-off, and that would basically implode the company, possibly killing it. And everyone around him is pretty much aware of this, right? And my guess is that this is what got Donald Trump to essentially try to sell cars on the White House lawn, because Elon Musk basically said, hey, I will give you this money to do this because it's really important to my net worth, or he just laid it out on the table and was like, if we don't do this, I have no money, I can't pay you, I can't support your power. So what they're doing now is they're essentially like shifting money around internally with Elon Musk's other assets within like probably SpaceX, Twitter, XAI, in order to maintain some amount of liquidity in his capital, i.e. cash money on hand, so that he does not get screwed by Tesla stock dropping in price. But that can only go so far, given how much money and how deep he is in debt and over leveraged based on Tesla. That is my understanding. And again, I don't know what that stock price is, but my guess is that there are investors in this company who are like, Tesla stock is going to go all the way up to $2,600 per share, guys. And like you look into their portfolio and they're like one of the largest holders of Tesla stock. Basically the board of directors at Tesla is panicking. We did a story just a couple days ago where like the board of directors at Tesla dropped hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Tesla stock, while Elon Musk did a board meeting to tell employees not to sell their Tesla stock. And you only do that if you are scared shitless about what's going to happen to the price of your stock. Yeah, all of these executives at Tesla dropped their stock, did not buy back in. So basically, what you're getting now is Elon Musk is trying to weaponize whatever political influence he has in order to try and be like, you guys stop organizing around Tesla or I'll get you. But he doesn't have the power to do that. And we have, First Amendment rights. And basically, if we keep up this pressure and keep making it so that people are like, oh man, I feel gross driving my Tesla. And right now, a lot of that fire is directed mainly towards people who bought Cybertrucks. But honestly, if people keep it up, people who bought like a Model 3 like 6 years ago are going to start being like, oh, I don't like this. And they're going to start selling their cars too. Nobody right now feels good about having a Tesla except for complete psychopaths. All right? But folks, that's why it's so important for us to get as many people out there to these protests as possible, because this is actually a meaningful lever of power for us to pull. The more of us that turn out at all of these Tesla dealerships, the closer we get to booting Elon Musk out of our government and rendering his political influence negligible. One of the biggest threats that he has been posing is, with that massive net worth, being able to leverage loans in order to give to campaigns and empower Republicans in primaries or in general elections. And it's basically been a dagger at the throat of politicians for the last several months. So reducing his wealth dulls that dagger until what he's working with is basically just a stick, just a dull child's knife. At which point we can just be like, all right, get the fuck out of here. That's kind of where we're at with Elon Musk. So I know that it seems really scary right now, everything that's going on, people being disappeared. Like, one of the things we can do to meaningfully weaken this regime is to continue amping up the pressure on Tesla. If you've already been going to these Tesla takedown protests, at your next one, bring a friend, bring 2 friends. That's kind of the homework you have to do, right? That's what you guys have to do. If you've been going to the protests, that's great. Next one, bring 2 friends. That's kind of where we're at. That's where our safety is. That's where our power is. And that is one of the meaningful vehicles for us to improve this country and bring down the threat of fascism. I don't have friends who would. Make friends. Invite the people at your local bodega. Join DSA. Join your local Democratic group. Get a couple of those 60-year-olds to go. They're mad as hell. I can guarantee you. The libs inside of the Democratic Party right now, they are mad as hell. You've never seen a group of old people so angry. All right? Make friends at the Tesla takedown protest. Absolutely. Let's see here. But seriously, though, I should reach out to some allies. That's the name of the game. Our job right now is to organize as many people as possible and not to wallow in self-pity. Self-pity is a 2024 thing. We don't have the luxury. I'm going to my first one tomorrow. Any tips for what to expect? Bring some signs, bring some pamphlets, get loud. Maybe consider bringing us snacks, water. If there are police officers involved, don't antagonize them. Anyway, we need to get more and more involved. That is the only way out is through, and the only way we all get through this is getting as many of us together as we can. Yeah, full stop. There's no there's no like wiggle room there. That's it. That is the name of the game. Yeah, maybe leave your phone at home or get like a burner phone, something like that. Yeah. Bring like an analog camera if you want to take pictures or video.